At this point, I have talked about the history of Fortnite snipers and Fortnite's broken guns. The fans have voted, and today I will be discussing the history of Fortnite's Mythics, from release to present day. Now, when I first started doing research for this video, I did not realize that there have been over 100 Mythic weapons added to Fortnite. I cannot promise I will be touching on every single Mythic in depth, but if I miss one of your favorites, be sure to let me know in the comments. A lot of these Mythics also could have earned a spot in Fortnite's broken weapons, so anyone who complained about them not being in that video, I sure hope you are here. Let's also get this out of the way. This is only when they first appeared, if any returned. I will not be talking about that. Also, let me know what your favorite season for Mythics was, and drop a like on the video so I can continue making these. Well, we have a long list to get through, so let's get right on to the video. Chapter 1 had the lowest amount of Mythics for a chapter. At the time of writing this video, I wrote down being tied with Chapter 5, but that has quickly changed, especially with Season 3. To be fair though, the first Mythic wasn't introduced until Season 4. Wow. Any guesses on what it was? Well, if you said Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet, you would be correct. In Season 4, Epic Games introduced the Infinity Gauntlet as the first Mythic, exclusively for the Infinity Gauntlet limited time mashup and endgame LTMs. This Mythic had 4 key abilities, alongside having extra health and shields that regenerate on eliminations. The abilities were a punch, ground pound, laser, and jump, and all could be buffed with infinity stones that were scattered amongst the map. The Infinity Gauntlet was eventually removed from files sometime after Season 9. The next Mythic added to the game was in Season 7, the Infinity Blade. I have talked about the Infinity Blade in almost every video I have made about history of Fortnite, so I'm going to skip over this one for now. Go watch one of my other videos if you want to know about it. The next 8 Mythics were all introduced in Season 8 as part of Marvel collaboration. These were the Avengers' Buried Treasure, Thor's Stormbreaker, Captain America's Shield, Iron Man's Repulsors, Hawkeye's Bow, and the Chitauri's Laser Rifle, Energy Launcher, and Jetpack. The Buried Treasure was just a means of getting one of the Avengers Mythics. Thor's Stormbreaker had 3 attacks: swing, launch, and throw. It had pretty good distance but was fairly ineffective. The launch allowed for super high damage output in a large radius, and the swing was a high damage low range attack. Captain America's shield could be thrown to attack players and structures, but it was more effective at being able to stop incoming damage. Iron Man's repulsors shot laser projectiles that had a soft aimbot function where you could guide them towards a player. The player could also jump much higher and could slowly hover towards the ground. Hawkeye's bow had 2 arrow types: an explosive arrow dealing high splash damage and impact damage, and a grappling hook allowing the player to pull themselves towards the enemy. The Chitauri laser rifle was a fully auto rifle that wasn't very good. The energy launcher acted like a proximity grenade launcher, and the jetpack was, well, it was just a jetpack. Last in Chapter 1 was the Batman collaboration during Season X, which added the explosive batarangs and the grapnel gun. The explosive batarangs, as I remember it, was not very good. This trend of Mythics not being good will not stick. The batarang was similar to a proximity mine. It attaches to a surface and will explode if an enemy gets close to it. The Batman grapple gun functioned identical to the grappler and was actually recycled later to be Jewel's grapple gun. The downside was it only had 10 shots, making it not really all that useful. The grapnel gun also allowed the player to redeploy the glider if they were high enough. Chapter 2 was kicked off with a Mythic that will go down as potentially the rarest item ever added into the game, the Mythic Goldfish. The Mythic Goldfish had a 1 in 1 million chance of being obtained through fishing, and because of this, it was only rumored to be in the game, and most players never even saw it. But why was it so special? It could be thrown at a player and instantly eliminate them, regardless of health. Next, we had the Mythics that were brought to us as part of the first Star Wars collaboration, the First Order blasters and lightsabers. The First Order rifle was just mid damage and mid range. The lightsabers, on the other hand, blocking infinite damage and having so many bugs, they were destroying the battle royale scene as a whole. Coming in Season 2 was the first Mythic introduced by eliminating a boss that is tied to the Fortnite lore, Sky's assault rifle and grappler. These were obtained by eliminating Sky at the Shark. The AR dealt 222 damage per second, being a very good version of the Scar, and the grappler was essentially the same as a standard grappler. Alongside Sky's items, also on the map this season, was Mythics' drum gun, Meowscow's Pow Pow rifle, Brutus's minigun, TNTina's kaboom bow, and Deadpool's hand cannons. They were all pretty good considering being some of the first mythics, except Deadpool's. Those kinda sucked. Mythics' drum gun could tear through wooden structures while also dealing decent damage. The Pow Pow rifle was a heavy AK reskin that could do 88 headshot damage. Brutus's minigun was similar to the OG minigun but with a faster startup time. TNTina's bow was the only mythic that was nerfed from its base weapon, and it was also the only mythic to not use base weapon ammo type, and instead a unique ammo. The only redeeming quality of Deadpool's dual pistols was every time you landed a shot, it healed 3 HP or shield. In Season 3, we had another wave of bosses dropping mythic weapons, and if you weren't already aware, this is a trend that will stick all the way until current seasons, and probably for the foreseeable future. We were introduced with Kit's charged shotgun and shockwave launcher, Ocean's burst assault rifle and bottomless chug jug, and Jewel's drum gun and Jewel's glider gun. Kit's charged shotgun was similar to the charged shotgun and was also the only mythic introduced before its base weapon counterpart. The shockwave launcher was pretty cool, but arguably not any better than you just using shockwaves. Ocean's bottomless chug jug, when consumed, went on a countdown instead of being consumed, allowing for infinite chug jugs. The burst rifle dealt 146 damage per second, but its claim to fame was the ability to triple burst a 55 headshot, essentially eliminating a player immediately. Jewel's glider gun was identical to the grappler, but this time you could pull your glider. How cool and new and innovative. But Jewel's drum gun was just as innovative and cool that it was essentially just a worse Midas drum gun. But these weren't the only mythics in Season 3, and I could almost guarantee that none of you have seen the one in the game. This one I'm talking about is the Mythic Mushroom. It had a 1 in 10,000 chance of spawning, and when consumed it healed 100 shield instead of the normal 5. Now, even though it was not as rare as the Mythic Goldfish, I still have not seen nearly as many people who have seen the Mythic Mushroom. Season 4 was the Marvel season, introducing 12 mythics into the game. Iron Man brought his repulsors again, but this time they were much worse than the ones in Chapter 1. He also brought a Unibeam. Someone left a comment on the Broken Guns video about me leaving out the Unibeam, dealing 90 damage through 2 structures and being very identical to the railgun. Maybe I was wrong to skip it. Dr. Doom dropped arcane gauntlets and a mystical bomb. The gauntlets dealt 30 damage and acted as a projectile, and the mystical bomb was a large green orb that could be thrown and deal 60 splash damage. Silver Surfer's board was dropped by supply drones and would launch the player in the sky in the direction they were facing. Groot's Bramble Shield healed 20 health every 2 seconds, 3 times per use. You could also roll around and be protected up to 200 damage. She-Hulk's fists were also dropped by supply drones, and they acted best when hit in a combo, allowing for up to 4 times damage. Black Panther's kinetic armor, when activated, reduced damage by 20%, and then when it ended, it made a shockwave that damaged and launched enemies backwards. Alright, I'll just fly through the rest because it feels like it's getting pretty redundant. Venom's Smash and Grab, Thor's Mjolnir Strike, Wolverine's Claws, Storm's Whirlwind Blast, Witch Broom, Shadow Midas' Drum Gun, and that's it. During Season 5, they added one of the best snipers ever added in the game. Go ahead and watch my video History of Fortnite Snipers for more about it, and that is the Mandalorian's Ambient Sniper, and also his jetpack. During this season was also somewhat randomly Predator's cloaking device, which was obtained by defeating Predator and allowed to become nearly invisible for 30 seconds. Season 6 saw the introduction of Spire Assassin's Primal Shotgun and the Spire Jump Boots alongside Raz's explosive bow. The Primal Shotgun will not go down as one of the best shotguns in the game, dealing very unimpressive damage. The Spire Jump Boots were not the easiest mythic to get, requiring you to go on a whole quest to get them, allowing a player to triple jump and redeploy their glider. And then yet another explosive bow gained by defeating Raz at, you guessed it, the Spire. The bow was required to be charged, but charging it gave no additional damage, and it was just not that good. In Season 7, we got Sloan's Pulse Rifle and Zig and Choppy's Ray Gun, because at this point, Fortnite can do whatever they want apparently. Sloan's Pulse Rifle had a fast hip fire rate, but very slow ADS fire rate, and the Ray Gun was just not as cool as the Ray Gun from Call of Duty Zombies. That's all I have to say about it. Season 8 Epic again decided to add a ton of mythics, adding 7 more just to really finish the longest chapter ever. They added Sloan's Burst Assault Rifle, Sideways Minigun, Venom Symbiote, Carnage Symbiote, Paper Bomb Kunai, and Sideways Scythe. Sloan's Burst had extremely high damage per second and insane accuracy, and despite being a 2-shot burst, it had 21 bullets. Weird. The Sideways Rifle could be upgraded by using monster parts, but honestly I'm just gonna skip this in the Sideways Minigun because just mid. Venom Symbiote had a cool grabbing mechanic, yeah, that's it. But the Carnage Symbiote, yeah, same thing, but with more speed and a glider redeploy. The Paper Bomb Kunai was the first mythic item that was able to be purchased from a character. It was similar to the Batarang but dealt less damage. The Sideways Scythe was probably the only redeemable mythic of the season, and that's just because it was really cool in my opinion. It was just a mid-melee weapon though. Okay, well, the longest chapter to ever be in Fortnite is finally over. If you made it through that, because I almost didn't, consider leaving a like on this video and subscribing. Alright, let's get into a more reasonable chapter. Chapter 3 Season 1 brought the Foundation MK7 rifle. We already know the MK7 was a powerful weapon, but this one was the real deal. This was, and still is, the fastest firing weapon ever to be added into the game. Now, my most favorite mythic ever to be added to the game, Spider-Man's web shooters. These things were peak movement and just made the game so much more fun. You got 80 webs to swing around and have the most smooth and fun movement in the game. And then there was Gunner's Stinger SMG. To be honest, the last 2 mythics just overshadowed this so much this season, I don't even remember this, so you don't get to either. Season 2 brought us the Huntmaster Thermal Rifle, Sloan's Striker Burst Rifle, and the E11 Blaster. The Huntmaster Thermal was just another thermal, but with 32 damage and 64 headshot. Sloan's Burst was, the same. And the E11 Blaster was already in the game before this, but now it was an attainable weapon and not really because it was just a slightly faster first order rifle. Season 3 brought one of the coolest mechanics ever added to a game, and yet another broken mechanic. And if you thought about Darth Vader's lightsaber, that was in this season, but it was neither cool or good. The reality sapling was introduced in this season, and mythic weapons could be dropped from these, such as the 2-shot shotgun, the DMR, and the hammer assault rifle, the primal shotgun, the rapid fire SMG, and the auto shotgun. Also added this season was the Kamehameha and Nimbus Cloud. These both could be purchased or found in the custom supply drops. Kamehameha worked similarly to Iron Man's Unibeam, but was way more powerful and also just really cool. Nimbus Cloud was similar to Silver Surfer's board, launching the player in the air and deploying a glider. In the final season of Chapter 3, Epic added the Herald's Burst Rifle, Evo Chrome Shotgun, Howler's Claws, and Inquisitor's Suppressed SMG. Chapter 4 had by far the most mythics ever introduced in a Fortnite chapter, with 26 mythics. Although Chapter 5 is on pace to break this record, being only June with 17 mythics already. The first season introduced the Champion's Excalibur Rifle, Champion's Shockwave Hammer, and the Deku's Smash. I can say I have first-hand experience in this season, and I can say that the Excalibur Rifle was nothing to bat an eye at, but the Shockwave Hammer, oh, that was something special. Arguably one of the better movements in the game, it was also the first to be added to a boss without taking out the other boss's weapon. The Shockwave Hammer also added this super cool edit style. Through the My Hero Academia supply drop, it dealt massive damage and provided enough movement in the animation to avoid taking mass amounts of damage. In Season 2, Highcard's Havoc's Suppressed Rifle was added, alongside the enhanced Havoc Shotgun, the Overclocked Rifle, thunder spears, ODM gear, new lightsabers, and a new Spider-Man web shooter. The base Havoc rifle was nothing to be excited about. In fact, it was a decent gun used just to find a better gun. The Mythic version was not very different. The enhanced Havoc was probably the most overpowered shotgun ever added to Fortnite. If you agree, let me know in the comments, but video on that soon. The overclocked pulse rifle was only able to be obtained by capturing the loot island and had the opportunity to hit for a 99 headshot with the first assault augment. The thunder spears were a very pointless item, putting you in bad situations to do very little damage, but the ODM gear was a very good movement item that could also overwhelm a player with the attack, but unlike previous mobility, the ODM gear had a durability bar. The coolest part about the new Padawan and Sith Apprentice lightsaber was the only way they could be attained was through the Obi-Wan or Anakin Skywalker Rift Gate. It could also force push or pull players depending on the ability you learned, and could also throw objects at enemies. The DC-15 blaster rifle was just another poor clone trooper blaster rifle. The Spider-Verse web shooters were another amazing smooth movement item, this time with 80 webs. So editors know I said this time with 80 webs even though the original had 80 webs, but I'm leaving that in there. Season 3 was another long season, so I'll just give some highlights. The Cybertron cannon was pretty cool, nothing special though. There was an invisibility cloak, an overpowered MK7, a ray gun, a Deku Smash rebuild, the ability to throw nails, and another overpowered shotgun. Season 4 was very much the same, a burst SMG, 2 disgusting shotguns, an ice wall, a thermal DMR, new lightsabers, and a vampire blade? Wait, I think I read that wrong, hold on. Vampiric blade. Oh, so essentially the kinetic blade. Now, that brings us to the current chapter, Chapter 5. If you're watching this video, I assume you have played recently, so I'm just gonna list them off, and while I'm doing that, go down to the comments and rate the current chapter on a scale of 1 through 10. I'm gonna, I don't know, 7, 6, somewhere around there. Alright, here we go. Peter Griffin's Pump, Valeria's SMG, Oscar's Friendly Auto Shotgun, Nisha's Striker AR, Ares Warforged AR, Thunderbolt of Zeus, Zeus Huntress DMR, Cerberus Gatekeeper Shotgun, Hades Harbinger SMG, Wookiee Bowcaster, Avatar Elemental Powers, Lightning Guitar, Megalodon Nitro Fist, Megalodon Combat Shotgun, the Machinist Combat Assault Rifle, Ringmaster Scar Boom Bolt, Conductor Handgun. Bah! Conductor Hand Cannon, I messed up one. Well, that is the entire history of Mythic weapons. This video has probably taken me 3 months to do, but mostly because I'm a professional procrastinator. But if you enjoyed, make sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.